tell me your name and your address and your social security number. Just your name.
I'm Owen Grimes. Well, I go to Rodriguez High School. I wake up in the morning, I eat a breakfast, I shower, I go to school, come home from school. You know, standard kid stuff, I guess. Standard teenager shit. Yeah. So my dysgraphia, it basically is a problem with my brain has a hard time communicating with my hand. So I know what I want to write, and I just have a hard time actually putting it down on paper. And it causes me a lot of like actual physical hand pain. So, and if I'm writing a long time, it gets worse as I'm working. So my handwriting, you know, if you look at a long thing I wrote by hand, you'll definitely see that, you know, my handwriting gets worse and worse as I get through, and eventually it just turns into chicken scratch. My dysgraphia certainly had a large impact on my schooling. A lot of my early teachers, like up to like 3rd grade, didn't really understand what it was, and they just kind of thought it was bad handwriting, but it was, you know, that's not what it was. And they'd make me, you know, take like handwriting courses and stuff, you know, do extra practice with handwriting. Because of it, like, people just kind of assumed that I was dumb. Like, they'd see my bad handwriting and they just make, some people would just think I'm like stupid. Sometimes I was, you know, I'll start over. People just used to always just assume that I was just kind of dumb. Like, they'd see my bad handwriting and just kind of judge me on it, and it was like not something I can help whatsoever.
Do you think people still judge you because of it? Like when you pull out a laptop?
You know, probably not as much. I'm sure when I first started having like accommodations to, you know, type all my written assignments, like 7th grade, people definitely were like, "What's this kid doing?" You know. But now, just because of the way, like, you know, schooling and technology is moving, you know, more and more stuff is digital. My dysgraphia just generally makes everything harder. You know, it just gets in the way of just things you wouldn't expect it to. And I don't know, it's just kind of a consistent factor in how I go about, you know, basically everyday stuff, really. I mean, so in like 2nd grade and 3rd grade and stuff, my teachers would always, you know, they'd give me like these extra worksheets to, you know, practice making like, you know, the letter F, and it would just have like dotted lines and I had to trace over it, and it was really kind of pointless because I knew how to make an F, like I knew what it looked like. I could, you know, hypothetically write a perfect F, but it just didn't help. And because it was such a long assignment, I would start out fine, and then near the end, my handwriting would get worse and worse, and they just look at that at the end and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, this kid has horrible handwriting." And it wasn't until like I actually got my accommodations that people started to understand it was, you know, not simply that I didn't care. You know, honestly, I consider myself very lucky that my mom is like a psychologist. She diagnoses this kind of stuff, you know, as her job. So I think I'm very fortunate to have a family that's, you know, understanding of that. But, you know, I was able to get more access to accommodations simply because, you know, this is what my mom does for a living. I certainly wish I could go without it. Well, on one hand, like, I'd certainly prefer not to have it. It's kind of just become kind of who I am. But I think I'd just be a different person if I hadn't gone through that struggle.